Welcome to Salon Conversations. I'm your host, Lisa, and I'm really excited about this topic because I feel like it's something that I get a bad rap for, multitasking, and it's just who I am. I'm just a person who likes to do a few things at once, and I would like to say how that works out when it comes to communicating, when it can be a good thing, but it's also something to watch out for. So there's kind of two schools of thought. There's the multitasker who is bored of doing one thing. And some of the reasons why someone's doing a lot of things at once is like they just want to do it now because they're going to forget it. So if I don't do it now, then I'm going to have to remember to do it. So I'll do it. So maybe in the way of answering a text or something, you're with someone and you answer the text when you could let it go. But if you let it go, the chances of you not remembering to answer it, so you answer it. So there's this bouncing around type ADHD thinking that means that just do it now because you kind of can't trust yourself. That's me for sure. The other thing is you just don't want to let someone down. So you just say, yes, I can do that. Give it to me. I'll do it. Give it to me. I'll do it. And it's just a people-pleasing thing that's still very common in your personality. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I can remember when I was married and I was quite young and being quite annoyed that my husband wouldn't do some of the things that I was doing. Like I was taking on too many things. And I said, well, why don't you do something? Like, feel free to help me. You could unpack the groceries, you could empty the dishwasher, you could whatever. And I can't remember when he says, yeah, and I can. But he said, the minute I do something for you, you'll go and put something else on the plate. So if I take something off your plate, whatever I'd said yes to, someone else or whatever, he said, you just do more. Oh, go away. You don't need to be all, don't you? And it is true. I think we multitaskers are not happy unless we've got a lot of things spinning. And then we got too many spinning and then we're almost resentful because people around us aren't spinning as many plates. I've got many family members like that, and they're just so annoyed that other people don't do 14 jobs at once, and they can't understand why someone can't do 14 jobs at once. What's wrong with this person? But it's actually a choice to do 14 jobs at once. And I see it in a lot in salon owners. I don't know if you can hear that rooster, but he's very loud. He's made his way in because I left the door open. So just now I've had this opportunity and this, hang on, I'm going to get rid of Kevin. I don't know if you can hear him, but hang on. I'll show you. Look how big he is. That's how big he is, right? Kevin. And he sleeps inside. Lorraine, she's a good girl, but it doesn't eat in the fridge there. Little Bantam. Did you hear that? See if we'll do it one more time. One more time, Kevin, in the microphone. No. See? Don't work with children or animals, they say in show business. Hang on, I feel like it's coming. We're coming, Kevin? I'll get rid of him. Back in a minute. Like a true multitasker, I have chickens and a cat, and I just fostered a little baby kitten, and we've got a dog. So it's just who I am. Now, it'd be a lot easier if you just had one, but it doesn't seem to work like that for me. I just think, well, I'm feeding one cat, I could feed another. And it is who I am, but it's also, it comes to bite me in the bum sometimes. And, you want to go away and you think, oh, I've got to find someone to mind this one and mind that one. Well, I think, well, if you're going to mind one cat, a person can mind a cat and two cats or a dog. Like, it just, my brain doesn't think about doing less. It just doesn't. I want to do all the things all the time. And that can cause me trouble. So the other thing I think it does, a multitasker, I think they've got really poor time management. So it's 2 times. Not now. I don't do that now. No, I don't do that now. That's not until next week. And then you go, is that tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? Yeah. So we push things away that aren't urgent. We really thrive on a deadline. And so I've got to get it done. Like, the things you can do in 15 minutes is incredible. I remember having brand new babies and selling a house, and they'd say, we're bringing someone around. They don't do that anymore, but they used to just say, I'm bringing someone around to have a look at the house. And so in any minute, you could get this 15-minute call that someone's going to look at the house who could be going to buy it, and you got to clean up. So you just run around, and you did. And we didn't think anything of it. Today, that would be such an imposition. I don't think any real estate agent would do that. But that's what we did in the 80s and the 90s. We just were inconvenienced by other people's things, and we'd manage. I managed. Like, you just chucked stuff in cupboards and whatever, and you just got on with it. But it's a different world we live in. People don't want to be put under pressure like that anymore. Like, even a phone call. You think, who's ringing me? Like, who's demanding that I stop everything and deal with them? We had the phone ring all the time. We didn't even send a text. We just, if you wanted someone, you called them. They answered the phone. It was an inconvenience, and it's another form of multitasking, but it's not, it doesn't happen as much as it used to. And the world's changed. Good or bad, it's changed. And so the multitasker is at risk of burning out really, really a lot. So poor time management. The other thing is we don't see what could go wrong. We only see what could be good. You think, oh, that's a really good idea. Could you do this for me? Yeah, I could do it. And you think, yeah, that'll take 10 minutes. It doesn't take 10 minutes. Might have learnt that. And so it'll take 10 minutes if it works well. But if it doesn't work well the first go, then you've got to fix it and have another go. And then you might run out of what it is you were doing, icing a cake, sticking something down, and now you don't have any more. And now it's not a 10-minute job. Right? And so we don't imagine that it'll go wrong. We just imagine that we can do it because our personality wants to please, it wants to help you, and it likes the busyness. So you think, yeah, give it to me, I'll do it. I can do that. And then you get home and you realise that you don't have the thing that you thought you had, or you can't find the thing that you thought you had, which would make it a 10-minute job, and now it's not. So then you say to someone like your husband or your partner, can you go to the shop and get me some more double-sided tape? Because I said I'd fix this for Whoosy Goosey and now I can't. And that's when my husband would say, well, why am I going to the shop? And I'm thinking, because you've got time and I haven't. And that's what he'd say, yeah, I know, but I'll go to the shop and you'll find something else to do. And he was right. So we might not be the easiest people to live with, just putting it out there, but we're wired that way. And I don't think we should feel like we're too much or we're a problem. We're only a problem to some people. We're a problem. Like I've got girlfriends who go, yeah, that's fine. They go, oh, that was shit, wasn't it? That you didn't see that coming, did you? Laugh, keep going. Yeah, I can do it for you. Give it to me. And you just handball it onto someone else. Like, I don't know. I just think the multitasker doesn't see what could go wrong. And you kind of like that busyness of you got a buzz out of doing it and fixing it, and it's like you want to just do it because we like doing stuff, we're good with our hands and we can fix things and we say, yeah, give it to me, I'll do it. And like no one's putting their hands up saying, give it to me and I'll do the book work. Let's be honest, but they are saying, yeah, I can do that for you, give it to me. I'll tie those onto those things tonight when I'm watching TV because we can do many things at once. The other thing is we don't feel like we're of value when we don't have things on. Like the amount of salon owners that work really well when things are busy and things are going like they like that buzz. But when it's quiet, it's like their soul drops out of their body, when they look ahead at a week that's quiet and they just feel like that's a personal reflection of them and they don't like it, and then they get annoyed and they'll procrastinate for a while and then they might come to me and I talk to them and I tell them that they can do it and they get energized and they fix it and they start again. But this consistency of sending out a newsletter every week or doing some marketing on a consistent, no, we don't like that. That's boring as hell. We like to wait till it's a disaster and then do something and fix it. And then the minute it's not a problem, we move on to something else. And so consistency is a problem for us. And that's why in my 25-hour salon owner course, I'm always talking about the 5 hours that you've got to commit to training because you just have to have some guidelines. Now, what you train in those 5 hours is up to you. You could have 5 team members and you spend an hour with each team member, educating them on something, looking at their, performances and where you can help them. And that's training, right? But a lot of times they do it when things are shitty and people aren't rebooking and maybe your rebooking percentage is 30% and you think, oh, it's disastrous. First you didn't even know. And now you found out. And so you work on it. And in the minute it gets up to 50 or 60, you think, how good are they? And then you go over there. And so we multitask in some ways, but I think probably in managing the consistency of your team, not so good at multitasking. Because if you were across your rebooking and your conversations and your retail, and you were constantly giving your team something to consume so that you keep them, topped up with knowledge, well, that's multitasking too. So don't kid yourself. You're selectively multitasking would be what I'd say. And we don't multitask on stuff that we find isn't urgent. And that's might just be me, but my ADHD brain goes into the emergency and fixes things. And if it's not that broken, then I'm not that excited about fixing it. And there lies the problem. So we've got to learn to feel good even when we don't do a lot of things. I feel like a day passed and I didn't get anything done. I said, I didn't get anything done. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't have to be valued by the amount of things you did. And that's one of my childhood, dragons or monsters is, I'm from a big family, and if my dad or mum came in and I was actually sitting down doing nothing, they would pull you out and give you a job. So you never got caught doing nothing, because they'd say, here, go and feed the chooks. Or here, you can take the dog around the block, or not that we walked our dogs back then. We didn't, we just let them loose. But they gave you a job. Can you take this over to the lady next door and return it to her? Or can you go up the street and get me 2 litres of milk? So if you were seen doing nothing, then you were a target and you just had to be doing something. And so that's where my value comes from. Unless I'm doing something, achieving something, then I'm being lazy or I'm of no value. And it's funny, like I even used to sit on my own and be quite happy just fiddling around doing nothing. And then if somebody came home, the kids or my husband or someone, I'd jump up. I didn't want them to see me doing nothing. And I didn't even know I did it. I just did it because that's how I was trained. So there's a lot of things that have tied into the multitasker, the big, busy person, and have to think about it. It might have come from there. I know mine did. I didn't realise, but it did. So feeling good about achieving something. You can do nothing and you still have value, I believe. We're trained to do lots. I think when you become a parent, you're trained to do a lot of things. When you become a salon owner, you're trained to do a lot of things. And a lot of things are not finished. There's my partner Simon says now, Lisa's got piles. She's got piles of things. But don't leave that. That's a pile. I'm going to come back to that. Ironing, sorting out papers, a pot plant and the pot I'm going to plant it in. Leave that there. Like I can't put it away because if I put it away, I won't do it. So I need to have things very visual and in my face so that I do it. And that's what he says. He goes, my wife was the same. She had the same piles here, piles there. Leave that pile there. Leave that pile there. No, leave that pile there. I remember my husband said he liked the fact that we had a housekeeper now because she actually put the vacuum cleaner away. I never put it away because I'm going to vacuum again in a minute. And I'm just going to do that. And it didn't matter what I did, I was always saw the next thing. And I find it hard to finish things because I think if I come back to that, I'll do it. And I think I'm going to come back, after I've dropped the kids off or pick something up. And then I can't be bothered. But the vacuum cleaner stayed out for 3 days till I got bothered. So that's in my mind, the tabs are open, and because the tabs are open, then it's a bit more, well, it's organised in my brain, but to people who are watching, they're thinking, well, can you put that away? Simon's a great put it away. I think, where's that gone? He goes, I put it away. He doesn't care where he puts it. He just puts it away. And then it's like a treasure hunt. I've got to go find them, And so I think, oh, we're putting it away. I'm more organised inside a cupboard than I am outside in public. If you open a cupboard, that's where that goes. I know it is. I like being organised. So when I look for something, I can find it. He's not so worried about that. He needs this cleared space so that he feels the calmness. That happens to me too, but not as much. I think the multitasker sees the pile and says, yep, that's good. I know that's there, that's there. And when it's not there, we can't remember what we need to do. And that's a waste of our time because we don't know how to think about it. Post-it notes on the wall, put them on, 9 or 10 post-it notes. And rarely do I come back to them. But when I do, I think done that, done that, done that, done that. And I didn't go to them to be reminded. It's a tab open in my brain that I know I'll get back to. So the multitasking personality type, I think I don't know any other way, right? And so for me, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I do think everything can be a little bit too far. Having children means that things are going to change at any time. Having a salon means that things are going to change anytime. You get a person called in sick, a child sick. So if you booked a ticket to go to somewhere, you're not going, and if you've got a client column full and a team member's not there, what are you going to do? Call them all up? Probably not. You are going to do it, go in and do it. So that's where our superpower and skills of jumping in to fix things can also be one of the reasons why it's so difficult to get your hours down. And what I want to teach you is that you can say no. And you can say, I'll have to cancel those. And then your client knows your team member knows you cancel them. Or ideally, you have a part-time workforce and someone else can jump in. And maybe you do 1/3 of them, but not the whole lot. Right? And these are skills that take time to be able to say no, because there are some people who own a salon who are not a hairdresser or not a beauty therapist. And when someone calls in sick, they have to reschedule the client. So it is a choice for you to do it. But once again, that comes up to the first thing. I'd rather do it now and get them done because I don't want to let them down. But sometimes at the cost of your health, at the cost of you being disappointed, and you keep coming in and doing these extra jobs, which is multitasking, that really weren't on your day and your plan, but you do it for the same reasons. You don't want to let people down. You don't want to have to find places and make 10 phone calls. Your time management skills aren't so good because you put other people's needs ahead of yours. And you don't see what might go wrong in that sense. Again, you just think, that'll be fine, I'll just do this once I'm done. But what you didn't think about is for you to say no to your day, you've probably let someone else down. So it's just, it snowballs. And so there are good things with the multitasker, but I think at the bottom of every multitasker is a very optimistic person. And they think, yeah, I can do that. Don't worry, I can do that. And so that optimistic personality just pops up without thinking about, okay, if I do that, sends a message that doesn't matter if you are a little tiny bit sick or you can't come in, there's going to be someone who'll cover. So your clients don't miss out, you still get paid, and it's done. So sometimes letting a few things crash and break is not a bad strategy. So these are just something I want you to think about. The multitasker doesn't really like the one-hit wonder. Oh, they're a bit like a snail, aren't they? And they're just, I'm thinking you could do it now. And Simon sometimes says, oh, you want me to do it now? I'm thinking, well, now or in a minute, and he doesn't do it like me. He's a very different, if you look at the dog archetypes, he's a fox terrier. He wants to know what it is he's chasing and when will he be chasing it and how many foxes will he be chasing and all of that, whereas I'm a poodle and a border collie. So I'm thinking, yeah, my optimistic show dog says, yeah, we could do that. Why don't we enter ourselves in this competition? And then the border collie says, well, this is what we've got to do. So we just do it. I don't understand why you can't do it. Just say yes, do it. It'll be done. Like by the time you argue it, you would have done it. That's my thinking. And that doesn't work really well for a lot of personalities. You can't throw things over your shoulder and expect the golden retriever to just keep picking them up. They don't want to. They go, hang on. Like they don't even know how to tell you that they don't like it, but they don't like it. So you need to know that. They say we like rats on meth. It's very harsh, isn't it? But just we think fast. We move through content and data quickly. Like you can be seriously angry with someone and then you go home and you stew on it and then you pop out the other side. Whereas a one-hit wonder will just put that away and doesn't want to think about it. So they'll park it. Like, I'm not thinking about that now. I can't think about that now. Can't think about that now. You think, no, I can't not think about it now. So I do process things quite quickly and I can spin into a shitty spot and spin out again and all in about a couple of hours. I can't help it. That's just how I'm wired. Yet some people will choose not to think about it and they'll just push it away, and they can. My mum was like that. She was a multitasker in many ways. She'd have to be. She had 9 kids. But she was very much, no, I don't think we'll talk about it now. I think we might talk about it in the morning. I'd think, why? I want to talk about it now while I'm tired, irritable, in a filthy mood. Like, she was so on the money. Why would you talk to someone about something when they're cooked? She knew better. And in the morning, the problem was about a third the size. So everything's worse when you're tired. And that sort of, no, I want to talk about it now. I think you need to think about, is it a really good idea? We find them annoying because they're often right and they don't want to talk about it. And they think, well, maybe just think about it. And I know for myself, I'm not very good at regulating and being consistent, or what's the other word? Moderation. I don't even know that word. I'm not very good at that, but I can pause. And that's the best you can ask for someone with a brain like mine, is just have a think about it. Don't send a text now to say how shitty you are and disappointed. Just, you can send it in 3 hours. And in 3 hours, I've calmed down, got down off the ledge, calmed down and thought, well, what's my part in it, and how can I have some compassion for the way they see it? Because one-hit wonders, they don't want to deal with everything all the time. They don't. And in many ways, they can sort of put things in a box and come back to it. And that's where I'm not as good at that. I just think, no, I don't want a box in my head that's full of stuff I haven't dealt with. I don't really want that. I want to get it out, sort it out, and then I'll turn the box into something more suitable. I don't know, make a cat house. Like, I'm just, oh, this would be a good box for a cat house. That's how my brain works, So I've learnt to like myself. I've learnt to just accept who I am, and I'm really good at solving problems for you and for me. And I'm much better now at just asking and pausing and thinking than I ever was. But I should be. I'm 62 this year. So I guess the moral of the story is, we need the one-hit wonders. We need the multitasks. We don't need to say they're wrong and we're right. I think we could learn a lot from them. Like the one-hit wonders, I remember in the salon they'd say, what about tomorrow? Do you want to come and have your hair done? This would be an elderly lady probably. Oh, no, I can't. I've got a doctor's appointment. And I'm thinking, well, unless you're going to be there all day, like, you're lucky to spend 10 minutes on the chair. And so I think, oh, is it far away? No, it's just around the corner. And I'm, everything inside me was saying, well, just do that and come after. But the one-hit wonder doesn't do that. That's the doctor's one. But they only think, right, I'm not like that. And so I burn myself out, whereas that person doesn't. But they don't want to be me and I don't want to be them. And that's where I think we need to just accept it. I call them fair weather people. Oh, they're not going out. It might rain. I think, well, it's not raining now. It'll rain 20 minutes, it'll all get wet. But I never look at the weather forecast. I just don't. If I'm going home to Melbourne, it's June. It's going to be cold. I don't need to know how cold. Cold. Whereas Simon, my partner, he will look at the weather. And you'll have a look what it is and you plan accordingly. I'm the person without the jacket and I buy another one. Like, hello, it's not all good. So big chunks of time, the one-hit wonders want big chunks of time, like the lady who said, oh, no, I can't then because I'm doing that. And I'm thinking, okay, right. And they're okay, right? They're more cautious people. And I think we're not as cautious. We're optimistic and we don't plan what can go wrong. And then we go, oh, this is shit. I didn't think that would happen. And luckily for me, my Simon he never goes, well, what did you expect? But I've been in relationships with people before who said, well, what did you expect? And I don't like that. True, but I don't like it. I'd rather say, come here. He goes, what have you done, Murphy? Oh, well, I did this and then I've done that. Like, I'm using super glue and now my fingers are stuck together. And he doesn't say you're an idiot. Well, he might, but he just laughs and helps me. Right. And the same way as, I say to him, you've got to have a protein shake every day. And he goes, I'll forget, I'm doing this first. And I'm thinking, no, never. So I make a double batch And I just put it in the fridge and he has one every day. But the thought of him going, oh, I've got to set it up and make it. I don't know how to make it. Well, you do. It's not that hard. Put protein and thing and a banana and some ice and you're done. But he's not doing things all the time. I've got that on. Quite often that's the protein machine, Thermomix, it's got everything in. I can't switch it on because I'm doing a podcast. But the minute I finish, I'll turn it on and then I've done it. But he would not do that. And so I've just learned to be grateful, because imagine if you had a room full of me, hello, and imagine if you had a room full of him, hello. So just, I don't know, we get sent the people that we need in our lives. And I think the moral of this story could be just be grateful and understand who you are, and just a tweak, just tweak it a bit, and then maybe they can tweak it a bit. I don't know. I've learnt to just let them, like Mel Robbins says, just let them. Just let him be. Don't boss him into doing what I'm doing because he can't do it. Don't try and change me, right? Let me work it out. Let me come to the conclusion that maybe 8 things on at once is too much and 4 would be better. But it's my choice. So I think these behaviours are at the core of us. And I think when you criticise someone for their behaviour, you're criticising them. That's how it feels anyway. So hopefully that was helpful. You've got to have some boundaries. And, for me, I pause. So I think, no, I won't say yes, I'll just wait. So you might read the text and go, I'll come back to you. And then I'll have a think about it. Because my first answer would be, yeah, I can do that. And then if I have a bit of a think about it, it's like, I could do it, but it would have to be on a Thursday. And then I think that's a good compromise. So hopefully that's helpful. Just be you, you're wonderful. But if being you is a bit annoying to you, you might want to tweak it a bit. And that's why 5 hours of spending time one-to-one with your team changes everything. You need to know their personalities. You need to know their love language. You need to know what it is that they would be better off if they tweaked, changed, stretched a little bit. And once you do that and you spend time with them, listening to them, helping them, getting them to think about who they are and what the consequences are of their personality and that they could change things, it just lights up a whole different place. And people who are not interested in learning or growing their personalities, who just go, this is all a bit weird, and they'll wander off. And I think that's a damn good thing. Just be you, accept who you are, and just a tweak. Just a tweak. So thanks for listening. And if you think you know someone who's either a snail or a rat or meth, how harsh, maybe they'd like to listen to this podcast. So I would be very grateful if you handed it to someone else. So have a lovely day. That's all from me. Bye for now.